Here's the bottom line, folks. All vertebrates, whether you're a hummingbird or a human being or an elephant, require 90 essential nutrients. How long do you need oxygen? For life. How long do you need water? For life. How long do you need the 90 essential nutrients? For life. There's 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids, and they're called essential for 2 reasons. Number one, we can't make them. We must consume them every day, either as food or supplements. And if they're missing, secondly, if they're missing for any length of time, you get horrible diseases, all of which are fatal. Plants only need 3 minerals to make good seeds for the next generation. We need 60. So if you're eating a pretty good slice of organically grown, multigrain bread, baked with love by the pastor's wife in the church on Sunday when he gives his very best sermon he's ever given his whole life, you're 57 minerals short. This article is from Food Chemistry, and Food Chemistry is a very well-respected scientific journal. It's very boring. It just tells you where they grow food and how many nutrients is in that food from that county or that plat of land, how many pollutants or what the pollutant load is. But this particular issue, April 16, 2012, they did an article where they analyzed the nutritional value and the pollutant load in baby formulas, 8 classic baby formulas in America and Canada that everybody knows and respects, Gerber's, Enfamil, Similac, ones like that. And they said, commercially available baby foods may contain less than 20% of the recommended levels of minerals and vitamins. Dog food has 100%, laboratory rat food has 100%, chicken food has 100%, and your babies, grandbabies, and babies have less than 20%. Somebody needs to go to jail. That's why you must supplement. You cannot depend on, quote, eating well. You cannot depend on eating well. 60 years ago, we had perfected perfect dog food. We spent $100 billion. We spent $100 billion perfecting dog food. What did we get for that? Well, we tripled their lifespan over 60 years. 60 years ago, an old dog was 8 years old. 10-year-old dog is 25. We eliminated 900 different diseases that still plague humans, including all birth defects you can name and 10 times that many you can't. We didn't do that with organ transplants. We didn't do that with genetically engineered protein, stem cells, or wonder drugs. We did it simply by putting vitamins and minerals in their dog food. This is the weekend magazine from the Globe and Mail up in Canada. The Globe and Mail is their equivalent of the USA Today. This article was written by a medical doctor, and he was wanting you to eat real food and not take vitamin mineral tablets and pills and capsules. I do both. For breakfast, I'll have 4 poached eggs and a steak. I'll have a baked sweet potato with butter and cinnamon. I'll have all my supplements. For lunch, I have a couple of snacks. I have another light load of my supplements. At dinner time, I'll have some grilled salmon with a great salad. And I'll have some dessert. And I will have my supplements. I eat very well. I have steak at least once a day. At least once a day. Better yet, 3 times a day, right? I avoid oil. I avoid burning my foods. I won't eat if it's burnt. I avoid gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. I take all my supplements. You see, if you eat well, how many milligrams of calcium are you going to get from that apple? What about a 1-inch wedge of that apple? You can't tell. How many micrograms of selenium are you going to get from 1-inch wedge of that apple? You can't tell. How many international units of vitamin A or beta-carotene are you going to get from eating a slice of that tomato? You can't tell. So I'm going to eat well, but I'm going to also take my supplements because I know how many milligrams, how many units, how many micrograms of everything I'm getting, because I'm not going to leave my life from the life of my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids up to chance, to the throw of the dice, what may or may not be in that food. I'm going to make sure everything is in there perfect. The equivalent of not supplementing would be to put a couple of shovels full of dirt from Texas in the crankcase of your car. You say, well, there's probably oil in there because that dirt's from Texas. That'd be really stupid, wouldn't it? Well, when you just eat well and you don't supplement with everything you know properly to make sure you get everything you need, worse yet, if you don't supplement your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, somebody needs to go to jail. Rich people, thousands of years ago, royalties, wealthy noblemen, wealthy merchants, would get their minerals from mummy dust. You go to the grave robber who had already sold off all the jewelry and the clothes and trinkets that were buried with him, but he kept the mummy because there was more money in the mummy than there was in the trinkets. You go to everybody knew where the grave robbers were, just like back in the Prohibition days, everybody could get whiskey, even though it was illegal, right? And so you go to the grave robber and you say, look, I got arthritis in my right hip, and he'd go cut the right hip off the mummy, grind it up, give you the powder, and in 6 weeks' time your hip was cured. It would go away. The arthritis would go away. Why? Because human joints have chondroitin sulfate, glucosamine sulfate, hyaluronic acid, collagen, vitamin A, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium. It has all this stuff, and it would repair that joint. Now, human joints are a lot more expensive than chicken joints, right? And so slaves and subsistence farmers couldn't get their minerals in the same fashion, so where did they get their minerals? From wood ashes. Wood ashes are not really ashes. They're the plant minerals that are left when you burn away the wood. The powder that's left in the fireplace, the wood stove, is really plant minerals. You throw it in the garden, and the corn and the peas and the sweet potatoes and the onions and the tomatoes and peppers, whatever you're growing out there, suck up these minerals. You throw them in the garden, the plants suck them up, you eat the plants, you get your minerals in that fashion. Well, that was the way we supplemented with our minerals. That's the way, the traditional way we got minerals for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, on Pearl Street in New York City, on the bluff overlooking the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge, where this fellow here, Thomas Edison, pulled the switch on the first commercial electric generating plant. Within 10 years, every town and every municipality and every city in the industrialized world converted from wood as the universal fuel to electricity. How many wood ashes, how many plant minerals are left over when you fuel your home with electricity instead of wood? Zero. And what did you replace your traditional source of nutritional minerals with? Nothing. And here comes a well-respected individual, a doctor, saying, now, don't you supplement with vitamins and minerals. You can overdose, you know. You better be saving your money for pharmaceuticals. You're going to need it as you get older. This is a satellite picture from 100 miles up. Southern California agricultural land. This is Mexico down here, Yuma, Arizona over here, Pacific Ocean over here. This is the Salton Sea, so you know exactly where this is at in Southern California. The Salton Sea is a salt lake about 1/10 the size of the Great Salt Lake in Utah. But what you see here is the nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. Nutritional minerals occur in veins like chocolate and chocolate rubble ice cream. These different colors and swirls and whirls are telling you these whirls and swirls are made up of different minerals, different mixtures of minerals, different amounts of each one. And the only way we can guarantee that every mouthful and every animal that eats soybeans that are grown here, corn that's grown here, whatever might be grown here, they're going to put in their feed. We're going to give them, we're going to supplement them with everything we know they need for maximum life, no birth defects, going to maximum production of milk, meat, eggs. When you look at that label on the dog food, on the chicken food, on the dairy food, on beef cattle feed, that label reflects only what we put in there, not what the food got out of the soil. What the food got out of the soil is value added, but it's a throw of the dice. So we put everything we know they need for perfect everything, we put it in there. Well, this is what makes longevity unique. This is a compost pile that contains 77 minerals in it. These are plant-derived minerals. This is a compost pile. This is plants. There's 100 cubic miles of this stuff. There is a 10,000-year supply if everybody on the earth uses this stuff. These guys are standing on a road 3,000-foot elevation above sea level. This white cap is 25-foot thick marine limestone. We know it's marine limestone because the animal and plant fossils in the limestone are from the ocean. This has zero pollution. It was under the sea for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And this is the core of everything longevity does. Very unique stuff. Nobody else has access to it. The ultimate question is, do you put oil in your car before the engine burns up or after the engine burns up? You put oil in your car before the engine burns up. You change the oil over 3,000 miles, whatever the maintenance book says. You'll get 300,000 miles out of that engine. If you put water in that car instead of oil, that car might not go 50 miles. So you know to put the oil in the car. Well, Methuselah lived to be 969. Those in the Old Testament who begat so-and-so, who begat so-and-so, who begat so-and-so, they lived to be 150, 200, 300. So who knows how long we can live if we do everything right. So isn't it sane to supplement with everything we know we need in perfect amounts? Eat right, but make sure we're getting everything perfectly like we do putting oil in cars before the engine burns up. Now myself, next month, using the Chinese method of aging, I'll be 75. Using the American aging system, I'll be 74. I have not been to a doctor with me being the patient for the last 68 years. I've never been on prescription medication. I have no health problems whatsoever, and nobody's going to steal an airplane with me on it. Now, if everybody were like me medically, the medical system would be real humble if their patients only came to them once every 75 years, wouldn't they? They'd be real humble. Well, we have 1,000 products in longevity. We have 25 different ways to get the 90 essential nutrients. My favorite is the Healthy Start Pack. Very simple. These 3 products, the EFA pluses, which are the omega-3s, in this case from fish oil, another one of my lawsuits against the FDA, which prevailed. The Beyond Tangerine has 115 fruits and vegetables in it. This is not V8, this is V115. Plus it has every vitamin, every mineral, and every amino acid you require. These 2 products together give you everything you need, but it's a little short on some of the minerals because if you put too many minerals in here, it doesn't go into solution very easily. So we had to come up with the OsteoFX Plus or Beyond OsteoFX Plus, 2 different varieties. One is powder, one's a liquid. And this has 50% by volume, those minerals that you saw in that compost pile, plus extra calcium and things like boron and things like strontium and vitamin D3 and so on. Okay, so this together gives you perfect nutrition for 100 pounds of human flesh for a month. You give it to a 50-pound kid, you give it to a 50-pound, 40-year-old midget from Spain. It goes by weight. Doesn't matter who you are, it goes by weight. This is good for 2 months. Give it to a 200-pound person, it's good for 2 weeks. You give it to a 300-pound person, it's good for 10 days. So you know as you get heavier, you need more and more of the stuff. It goes by body weight. Okay, the last slide here. In this upper right-hand corner is the Healthy Start Pack I just showed you. I've been taking the 90 essential nutrients twice a day since I was 9 years old. I've been taking this program twice a day since I was 9. Now, I'm not stupid enough to think that I, a 9-year-old kid, figured this out by myself. I figure I had some divine guidance there, right? And so I feel that I'm obligated to keep sharing this with people. If I had divine guidance, got rid of one of my health problems, and when I was 9, that was it. Never had a health problem again. Well, this pack, if you look carefully, this Healthy Start Pack is in every one of these other packs. It's the core of everything. Everybody needs this. 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. So what would you use a healthy blood sugar pack for? Well, duh, this is not too hard. This is the blood sugar pack is for diabetes. Anything else that has to do with blood sugar problems. You take one of these per 100 pounds of body weight, take your fasting blood sugar every morning before you medicate yourself, and as your blood sugar gets down below 100 without medication, you don't need medication anymore. 98% of all diabetics are type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is not genetically transmitted. Type 2 diabetes is a simple nutritional deficiency of a mineral, a single mineral deficiency. We've known that for 70 years. Type 1 diabetic is one of these inborn errors of metabolism. It makes up about 2% of the diabetic population. Healthy bone and joint pack, well, anything to do with connective tissue. You're looking at arthritis, osteopenia, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, degenerative arthritis, bone-to-bone arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, degenerative disc disease, ruptured disc, bulging disc, fibromyalgia, lupus, periodontal disease, which has to do with osteoporosis of your face, kidney stones, which is a calcium deficiency, not too much calcium. All that is dealt with by the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. Healthy Digestion Pack, well, that's very easy. You have gluten intolerance, belching, burping, bloating, farting, constipation, diarrhea, reflux. You take the Healthy Digestion Pack and the gluten-free diet, it all goes away. Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. You have to take 6 to 10 eggs per 100 pounds of body weight, not fried, not cooked in margarine or oil, cooked in butter or water. And you take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack for MS, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's disease, and then congestive heart failure, cardiomyopathy, heart disease, things like clogged arteries, and also for coronary thrombosis, blood clots, dementias. Over here, dementias. I didn't say dementias. We're looking at Alzheimer's disease, Korsakoff syndrome, Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, B12 dementia, vascular dementia. I'd also add for vascular dementia the ultimate daily tablets to get blood circulating through blocked arteries. For Korsakoff syndrome, I would add the de-stress capsules. Now, it all goes away. It's all preventable. There's only 2 reasons why you won't get the result you're looking for. Only 2 reasons, maybe 3. Number 1, you're underdosing. A 200-pound person taking enough for a 50-pound kid ain't going to work, as they say in France. And then you can't absorb it. You're dosing perfectly, but you're only getting 10% because you can't absorb it. You are not what you eat. You are what you absorb. Thirdly, you're underdosing and you can't absorb. So 10% of nothing is not very much. The most common reason why people are not absorbing is gluten intolerance. People say, well, I'm gluten-free. I mean, I'm obsessive about it. I am gluten-free. You have a dog? Yep. You have dry dog food? Yep. You're not gluten-free because dry dog food is made from gluten. You have a cat? Yep. You give them dry cat food? Yep. Well, you're not gluten-free. Well, I can't get my spouse to give up gluten. Well, you're not gluten-free then. Everybody in the household, including the mother-in-law, the spouse, the dog, the cat, the bird, the fish, because of cross-contamination of the laundry, the couch where everybody watches TV, the food preparation surface, the bed you sleep in, everything, everybody in the household's got to be gluten-free. Otherwise, you're not gluten-free. And then, of course, you need stomach acid. You cannot be drinking alkaline water during meals. I sell structured water. I sell alkaline water. I sell it. Youngevity sells it. But you can't drink it with meals because you neutralize your stomach acid. To absorb minerals, to digest proteins, to absorb B12, your stomach pH, the stomach environment's got to be pH 1.2. It's got to be like battery acid. It also keeps your stomach sterile so you don't have yeast and bacteria growing there. You won't have reflux. It makes your reflux go away. You can turn on the lights for me if you would, please. So, when people tell me they haven't gotten the results, you have to go back and do a little investigation, do a little housekeeping, figure out why you're not absorbing. Are you underdosing? Well, you have to look at all those things. Because this program I've been doing for 36 years will never fail. I get people who are terminal with Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's disease, MS. Sometimes in 90 days it reverses. Sometimes in 4 to 6 months it'll reverse. It never fails. If it fails, it means you're not absorbing or you're underdosing or both. So what I want to do now is thank you very much for being a good audience. I'm going to turn this back over to pharmacist Ben so he can put this thing together. And we'll be back. I think we're going to do a little bit of thing here. Come on up here. And then we'll pick this back up. And back to you here, Ben. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dr. Wallach. By the way, Dr. Wallach, oh my gosh. Dr. Wallach is going on 75. He goes to bed at 2 o'clock at night, and he wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he's like this on fire throughout the day. I can personally verify. And by the way, somebody needs to go to jail. Aren't you guys? You should be so upset. You should be so ticked off at this medical model that is ripping us off, that is stealing from us not just our money, but our life force at every turn, that the first thing you should begin to do, if you don't doubt one word about what he said. We got something called the internet today. Just get on the internet and start Googling and start doing some research. And after that, get yourself on a supplement program, correct your digestive system, and there's no way, no matter what your health challenge is, that you're not going to be able to reverse it and reverse it quickly. Because one of the great gifts of the human body is The sicker we are, the faster we turn it around. The more nutritionally deficient we are, the faster our body absorbs those nutrients. So I encourage you to check out the food truck out there. It's organic chicken. It's organic veggies. There are books out there. And Dr. Wallach's, we're going to be talking about epigenetics, but he's got all kinds of books. And that's one of the neatest things about longevity is that we're about educating. We're about making your lives better. Everybody who participates in longevity will have their lives improved to the extent that they participate in it. So go out and grab some books, grab some food, come back in 15 minutes. Is that what we said, Pete? Where's Pete? 15 minutes or so? And then we're going to be talking about the new book, Epigenetics, and it is an absolutely fascinating read. Thank you guys very much. See you in a little bit.